Hi, everyone. I wanted to pop in here and do an episode on my online dating protocol. I wanted to get kind of any feedback and if it's something that you might try, just totally open to any suggestions or takeaways. And if you end up trying something, did it work for you? So let's dive in. I wrote down just three um three kind of protocols, but then I dive deeper into the third one. So, first, I would say just be clear and define what it is you're looking for. To each his own, whether you're just looking to get laid or, something long term or, strictly marriage, whatever. I would say just get really clear on what you're actually ready for, what you have the capacity for, um, and what you expect. And I would also say part of that just kind of making sure that you're not getting overly invested early on. Definitely get invested once, the relationship is built, but I think there is just kind of that risk of over investing in someone that you don't even know. Like maybe you don't even meet that person and you're just like building up this fantasy. So, number two, limit your conversations. And this is actually huge. Ladies, I'm sure you experience, the overwhelm and it's just too much. It's draining. If you get too many matches and too many conversations, depending on which app you're on, just I would say limit it to only what I've been doing right now. It's like really only talking to like two people. And using these strategies, which I'll get into later, to really filter them out. So, third, the filter. So filtering early on, I think, is where I might have really missed the mark before because, in researching attachment and learning more about what I need in a relationship and what I tend to override in my own, intuition and just all these patterns that I fall into that are actually not aligned with my own intuition. And yeah, so just getting, clear on what you want in a relationship. So, number one, what do you want? And what does it look like? So just being clear and defining that for yourself. And for the other person too. Like I've had people really reach out to me and saying like, what are you looking for? And then if I say long term and they unmatch me right away, it's like, okay, cool. Like they're doing you a favor. So I would say, especially if you're listening to this and you have some sort of anxious or avoidant attachment style, I would definitely be aware of those tendencies. If you tend to people please or push your own boundaries away to make someone else happy, that's something to be very aware of, especially in online dating, because you are getting exposed to people that you don't know, you don't have the background information, and you're getting exposed to a lot of people. Like I put my distance like 8 miles, I think it is, but I still match with like a ton of people outside that um area. So just that radius. So like I would just be cautious, considering you are getting exposed out there, um, whether you want to or not. I mean, okay. So next, I wanted to break this down and how I'm filtering out because I'm actually kind of proud of myself. Um, I've recently been doing some digging into what I need in an actual relationship because, um, I've dated a lot of really toxic people and then also like really nice people and really, I wouldn't say like qualified because I think with those situations, it was more so they were attached to this idea of me and they didn't actually try to get to know me. And so there was that piece. And I realized in having a lot of those experiences where I was like, okay, well, what would I need in a relationship where I would feel valued and comfortable? And I realized it's emotional attunement. I know it might sound, kind of like clinical or whatever. Um, but honestly, that once I realized that, I was like, oh, because I ended up reaching out to someone who I thought, I was like, did I really miss the mark? Was it really all my fault? I had the attachment issues and um something just shut off and I literally was ice after thinking I was going to marry this person. And I was like, was it all just me? And I tried to own it. And at the same time, I was, bringing to light and I was kind of, I think, testing the waters. Like, is this guy actually emotionally attuned? Does he actually care about me like he said he did? And I kind of was testing it out. And what I found was like, whoa, okay, yeah, I really made the right decision in that situation. Like, yeah, maybe I'm like, oh, shutting off and like running, but, um, for the right reasons, it looks like. So, don't always put yourself down just because you have this attachment issue. There's definitely ways to heal, and if you find the right partner, you can do it in relationship with them. So there is like definitely hope, and I'm trying to hold on hope too. And so in that encounter, I realized that he was not attuned. Like, he didn't really acknowledge any of my experiences that I was bringing to light, saying what the dynamic was the problem. Yeah, I have a tendency to run, but the dynamic itself was not okay for me to relax in something like that. And he didn't understand it and didn't make an effort to dig more or to find out more. And so it looked like to me like he was just kind of wanting me to beg for him back. And so to me, I'm not going to beg for someone back that I don't know if they are capable of being in a good relationship. So it just, and, kind of going back and remembering the relationship, I realized it did feel very junior high-ish, like just the jealousy and like just these insecurities that came out of nowhere when he wanted me to like meet his friends. And it was like, I'm doing this for you. I wanted to go to bed. I'm an introvert. Like, I don't want to do these things, but I will if I'm in a relationship with someone and they want me to do it. I ultimately will like just push my needs aside for the other person, which is like to the detriment of myself. That has been my history. And so I am trying to fix that situation and dynamic. I don't want that to be the case. Sorry for the long tangent, but just giving you a little context. So after realizing that, I'm becoming more aware of what I would need in a relationship. And so I think the 4 pieces to filtering out in your communication early on. So first, it's consistency, and that is really important to me. I don't know if it's important to you. I would imagine it's important to you just because consistency does show, interest and effort and alignment. So if that consistency is there, it builds trust. I think inconsistency just diminishes any sort of trust for the foundation. I mean, this is all early on too. So like I would take that with a grain of salt. You don't expect somebody to be nonstop on their phone, but I mean, like, if there is like a consistent flow, like every night you might get a message or response. Usually I don't have the app open during the day or anything like that. I don't have notifications on. So it's it's still consistent. It's maybe not nonstop, but it's still a consistent pattern. And what's more is that I don't think either party should expect or be entitled to your attention right away like that. Like, I mean, in any relationship, like you shouldn't be entitled um to someone like access right away. So I think, kind of limiting that, but being consistent on both ends is going to be a good sign. Next, communication style. So I may break out the conversation just to give you guys like a little insight into what I was doing. So I'll post it in the thing because I don't think I can exit out on this. Okay, so basically communication style is important. I think it shows kind of like the EQ and the IQ. As like shallow as that may sound, I think it might be important. I mean, of course there's like different degrees of like compatibility, but I do think that matching somebody's like intellect with also like, okay, do they have people skills? Like, I think both pieces are important to me because I do like to have intellectual talks and explore different ideas. I think what I learned, and again, like this is just kind of based on my own personal preferences. So to me, the communication style is key. And I think through the communication style, it conveys, their personality. Like, are they flirtatious and kind of like engaging with you? Are they, kind of cold or like showcasing that they have, somewhat good grammar? That might have not even been good grammar, that statement. But I think those can be kind of turnoffs for people if somebody doesn't know how to hold a conversation or doesn't act interested. So I think the communication style is important. And then next is just effort. So when somebody is being consistent and putting in effort, and I think effort shows up in different ways for different people too. So for me, the effort is like, are they putting an effort to ask me questions? Are they putting an effort to talk to me and act interested? Whatever. So that all ties into effort. And then the final note actually wraps everything up. Because they all kind of, intersect. The last piece is attunement, which is what I touched on with my story of the ex. And if the guy is not showing any attunement in his communication with you early on, I think it's definitely a good way to filter out, what's not working for you. And I don't think that you have to really give excuses for these guys. They're grown and I mean, I don't know. I feel for both parties. Like, honestly, I think it's not ideal for either end of this situation, online dating. But if he is not attuning to you now, do you think he's ever going to? Like, and one could argue, like, well, he's not investing because it's too early. And like, okay, well, I think my profile does a good job of showcasing, what I bring to the table and like what's valuable about me. So if somebody doesn't value those things right off the bat, I don't know if they ever will. And I don't think that you should be under the illusion that, oh, with time it will happen. With time, that is holding on to hope and holding on to some fantasy. So I think everyone needs kind of a reality check at times. And let me see if I can pull up the conversation